What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 3. This is going to be another best of two. We have going between the House is Down THD going up against Isurus Gaming on the Radiant and Dire, respectively. This is presented by HeflaTV here on HeflaTV 2. I'm going to be one of your casters. I'm Mike Loris, and I am joined by Grandis V.
Yeah, pretty excited for this matchup. It should be fairly even. I'm not sure what the match history between the teams is, but both of them definitely do bring a decent amount of skill to the table, as well as both of them playing on the same server. So that's, for once, not going to be an issue in the American region. So, well, into the game we go, as the first bans are going to come out, as well as the first couple of picks. Showshum Brewmaster taken out by Isurus. House is Down is going to ban out the Lycanthrope as well as the Faceless Void, and then go ahead and first pick up the Death Prophet. Isurus, they have the first pick Razor, and I'd assume they pick up a support here, but whatever they go for, it's probably not going to be anything unconventional.
Yeah, the unconventional heroes come later. Both of these teams do like to run the occasional odd hero out. I know both of these teams have a pretty good Meepo player, so Meepo is on the table, guys. So, you know, we'll be keeping out for that. And, well, they also run some weird stuff besides that. I think I've seen Tusks from, I believe, Isurus, so that was pretty exciting. Of course, LDS has a great Invoker, and the House is Down. All in all, a little bit more consistent, I would say, than Isurus, but either way, it's going to be a pretty nice game, I would say, or pretty nice series of two games, in fact. And, well, it looks like it's going to be Razor. Skywrath Mage is the opening from Isurus. Pretty standard opening, but House is Down with a Death Prophet could just flip the switch and decide to go for pushing right off the bat, though Isurus should be more or less capable of defending should the push come. And it looks like with Nature's Prophet and Death Prophet, two of the Prophets in the game, they are going to go for a little bit more of a pushing lineup.
Yeah, even if this is the extent of their push, it's still enough to pretty much consider it a pushing lineup. They have the ability to 5-man down the towers very effectively, and they can also split push very well. Their other picks are going to have to shore up their team fighting potential, because right now, the damage from Death Prophet is going to be useful, but that's about all that they have.
Alright, so second banning phase is now about going on, and the House is Down actually banning out the Enigma. It's a hero that I would more expect to see from the House is Down than I would see from Isurus, with the whole pushing comp kind of thing going on with them. But Enigma doesn't actually offer that much counter push, and if the House is Down truly are going to go for this huge, we're just going to ball up and push your tower strategy, then Enigma isn't actually a threatening hero at all. Viper is going to be a lot more threatening for either side, really, but Isurus with the Razor don't really want to have the mirror hero or the Viper on the other end.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It would have fit pretty well into the House is Down's lineup. They would probably put the Death Prophet and the Viper interchangeably in the mid or safe lane, depending on how the matchup would go. I'd presume they put the Viper in mid, just to make sure that Death Prophet doesn't get thrown up against a Razor or something like that. But yeah, definitely a ban that makes sense to me. As far as the other heroes that are going to be taken out, we have a Tidehunter banned out by the House is Down. A lot of the top tier supports are going to weasel their way through, or rather, just the melee stunners and the Earthshaker and Wraith King. At least one of them is going to be allowed to be picked, and I expect Isurus, with first pick out of the banning stage, to snag themselves up the Earthshaker.
Yeah, Earthshaker will be great once he picks up his Blink Dagger against all these units that House is Down are going to be making. Banning out the Wraith King also seems like a pretty nice way to go, although House is Down don't necessarily have to go for the hero. It's just banning out a generally strong hero, which is never necessarily a bad thing to do, but Isurus Gaming, I think they're going to be banning out a hero that gives the House is Down a little bit more momentum, and they're probably going to let the House is Down have their pick of supports, because you know, the House is Down, with the cores that they have right now, they are going in a particular direction, and there you go. It's going to be another one of those directional heroes that is going to be pointing very strongly towards pushing and going very early, so the supports are not getting that much hate in this ban phase, as we're now in the second pick. I think Earthshaker is probably the best support hero for Isurus, but who knows what they're going to go for.
Yeah, definitely. The House is Down, if they do want to go all into the push, there's still plenty of heroes that will lend themselves to that, namely the Jakiro as well as the Venomancer are two pretty solid supports and or cores that you could run that would allow you to push down the towers very easily. I'm not sure if they're going to go for that, but a Wraith King Jakiro as your supporting duo could be pretty solid for them. Wraith King is going to be picked for Isurus, so they're going to shy away from the Earthshaker. I'm not a huge fan of this choice, although both of them kind of serve a similar purpose. Both can roam pretty effectively early on and will also be a pretty solid initiator once they get a Blink Dagger up. But I think the Earthshaker just all around offers a little bit more. Even without the farm, Fissure is going to be incredibly useful and offers quite a bit more counter push than the Wraith King counterpart.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that assessment of Wraith King versus Earthshaker. It is, of course, a lot coming down to personal preference, since at the end of the day, what they want is a hero to go with the Scarith Mage, and both of those heroes do that job just fine. You stun people, so that Scarith Mage can unload a lot more damage, and oh, the house is down. Visage is going to be the pick. I think maybe the house is down. I've been watching a little bit of Cloud9, maybe, and Drow Ranger still in the pool and still on the table for the house is down.
It's going to be very finicky to pick up a Drow Ranger in the 4th slot. Isurus, they still have plenty of heroes in order to get into the face of the Drow. Right now, they don't have the best. Until Wraith King gets a Blink Dagger, they don't have a great way to bridge the gap. But then again, the pushing power coming out from Visage as well as Drow Ranger, and then you're also dealing with another 2 range heroes in Nature's Prophet and Death Prophet that can hit pretty hard on their own, excuse me. It's just going to be that much greater with a Drow Ranger. They're going to need something of a tanky frontliner as their last pick, but I don't know, that's going to be pretty hard for them to find. They're probably going to be looking to find support as that last slot, or maybe they jungle the Nature's Prophet. But either way, it's going to be pretty greedy in the laning stage, and Isurus, they pick up the Storm Spirit. Drow Ranger is not looking like a very comfortable pick here.
Yeah, not really as much anymore. What Drow hates is having a hero right in her face. Then she loses the marksmanship bonus agility, and then everyone else on her team also loses that additional damage that the agility would have given. With the Storm Spirit on the field, Isurus, really that's enough to say Drow Ranger is no longer a desirable hero at all. Because once Storm Spirit jumps on Drow, most likely she's going to die. Yes, Gust is pretty good at keeping Storm Spirit off of you if you could get it off, but it's good luck doing that. So this Visage pick is now kind of a stray hero out, though. It's definitely a support hero that could put out some serious damage if you have another support hero that could set up and really just fill that soul assumption meter very quickly, or a core to do that, really doesn't matter. So I'd like to see this turn into a very aggressive roaming combination with the Visage. Wraith King would have been a seriously great pickup for the houses down at this stage, but since their support doesn't actually have any disables, and really the only tool they have against Storm Spirit is a silence from the Death Prophet, they need something along the lines of Vengeful Spirit, a high damage support hero that could also stop the Storm Spirit in some way.
Yeah, I'd like the Venge. Earthshaker's still not bad if they want to go for that instead. But yeah, just having the instant single target initiation, or rather, stun coming out from the Vengeful Spirit, as well as being just a really solid roaming duo, definitely benefit the houses down. As far as their last core pickup for them, I'm not sure where it's actually going to end up. They might be looking just to buckle down their lanes. We might be seeing an OD. Could be pretty solid. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they're going to go. I think this is probably going to be their support pick in the 4th slot. Probably just going to be that other roaming hero.
Alright, so on a scale of 1 to Meepo, what do you think the odds are for Isurus Gaming?
I think the odds for Isurus picking it up are a little bit better than the houses down. Well, let's see. Death Prophet Exorcism as well as the Visage Soul Assumptions are going to be annoying for the Meepo to deal with, but it's nothing unsurmountable. It's not too crazy, although the physical damage is going to be definitely very potent. I think that fullback could handle it. We'll see. It's just going to be a Rubik from the houses down. It's okay. It's not as aggressive as the Vengeful Spirit, but Rubik is going to be just an all-around solid support. There's always going to be the Wraithfire Blast to steal. The other spells are pretty lackluster, but you can always get that single stun, and something from the Scarith Mage could be useful. I don't know, Rubik is kind of non-committal here.
Yeah, Rubik in general is just one of those heroes. He's never really bad in any situation, but at the same time, he's never going to be a fantastic, fantastic hero. Maybe if you're up against Enigma and a Tidehunter and you have those options to steal, but generally Rubik is going to be just an okay hero. It's not a great hero to go with Visage, though you can slow them down by quite a bit and get some additional right clicks in. The Soul Assumption bar isn't really going to fill up with Rubik's help. Fade Bolt doesn't really do that much damage in the grand scheme of nukes, so when the house is down, they're going to have a nice little stun, which is necessary for locking down Storm Spirit, but Telekinesis isn't the best. I mean, it's only, let's say, 2-second stun, and that's about it. So they have 2 seconds to kill a Storm Spirit, or at the very least to land a silence from the Death Prophet. They're still going to be a little bit disable light. Maybe the house is down as their last pick, going to go for something like a Centaur, and then just play this super, super aggressively.
I would definitely love to see that. It would be a hero that would allow the Visage to really shine, lift into the War Stomp as well as the Double Edge, would fill Visage's soul assumption meter almost instantly, and that would be able to burst down pretty much anything on the side of Isurus Gaming. I don't know, Razor, if he gets the farm, would be able to sustain through that, but in the early portions of the game, all of these heroes are going to be fairly squishy. Isurus, this last pick, One can hold out for the Meepo, but I don't think that's what we're going to be seeing. Just a little risky to pick it up. I don't know. I'd love to see it.
Alright, Isurus, you have 30 seconds left, and I'm pretty sure everyone's holding out for the DDX Invoker as well, but I think it's a little bit too late for that, because he's most likely the Storm Spirit player for Isurus. I'm not completely sure on who is going to be playing that. They are running with one stand-in as well, which is kind of going to make things a little bit janky, but it would have been an okay pickup, nothing too amazing. Like, the Wraith King stun into a Sunstrike is pretty okay. It's nothing, again, it's nothing amazing, so Isurus, it's going to be, let's have a drum roll, please. It's, okay.
Sure,
well, that's not what I expected. It's a solid enough hero, though. I mean, can't really go wrong.
No, their lanes are going to be pretty interesting coming up from Isurus. We might be looking at an aggressive tri-lane, as none of these heroes are going to be comfortable soloing a lane by themselves in the off lane, at the very least. Potential dual lanes, although that would hurt Isurus Gaming's ability to actually fight. I think this is going to be a Gyrocopter aggressive tri-lane. Potentially. Concussor Shot with the Wraithfire Blast would definitely be able to set up for the Rocket Barrage, but then again, you are going into a tri-lane versus a Visage as well as a Rubik, which definitely could handle, I don't know, that lane. Depending on their positioning, we'll have to see. I'm not sure what the third hero for the House is Down that's going to be going to that tri-lane. The Tinkerband is pretty solid coming out from Isurus, and it's going to be a Morphling, going to show up their late game by quite a bit, although I'm not sure this Morphling is going to get online fast enough. It just kind of feels that it's not going to synergize very well with the timing coming out from the Nature's Prophet and Death Prophet.
They're going to have a little bit of pushing going and just buying Morphling space. Once the Tier 2 towers drop, or a couple of Tier 2 towers drop, then the Morphling is going to have a lot more time to do split pushing along with the Nature's Prophet and really just apply a steady stream of pressure to all of Isurus Gaming's lanes. The Gyrocopter pick, I think, is going to mean Isurus are trying to force this try-v-try situation. I don't really know who's going to get the edge if it does end up being Gyro Wraith Skywrath against Morphling Rubik Visage, because Morphling Rubik Visage actually fills up the Soul Assumption meter quite quickly if you land a waveform on a couple of guys, and once that happens, like, Gyrocopter is going to get absolutely destroyed by a Soul Assumption, and you get locked down fairly decently as well. It's going to be dangerous for both sides, and maybe it's just a little bit too dangerous that both sides are just going to want to dodge it and put, I don't know, a Razor there or something, or a Nature's Prophet. It's definitely going to hurt the Isurus Gaming side a little bit more if the lanes are actually dodged, just because the Razor or Storm Spirit aren't really capable of going up against that tri-lane, so they're going to try to force it, I think.
Yeah. Well, at least we are going to get into this game. It is going to start off with the conventional pauses. One of the Isurus players is going to have a little bit of difficulty connecting. But on the Radiant side, we are going to have the Houses Down, or THD, playing there, with Yuka handling the Death Prophet, presumably going towards the mid lane. And then we are also going to have Leposa handling the Morphling, probably going to be farming in the tri-lane, with Jubilu handling Nature's Prophet, and our supporting duo of Gui playing on the Rubik and Vestius on the Visage.
And on the Isurus side, we got Fullback, currently handling the Gyrocopter. He has a beanie hat. That's awesome. That's a sweet hat. LDS is going to be on Storm Spirit, LDS or DDX, as he sometimes is known as. Zuni, standing in, is going to be playing the Support Wraith King, along with Nadera on the Skywrath Mage. That leaves Razor, going to be played by Dulce. So we're just going to see how these lanes are actually going to load out. I'm expecting everyone from Isurus to go down bottom for now, and then they're going to leave Fullback and the two supports down there. And I don't know, it's going to be a really, really close lane. Leposa probably isn't going to die until the Skywrath Mage potentially gets to level 2, maybe level 3. But the Rubik and Visage, they are certainly going to be in for a ride, as if they get caught with a Wraithfire Blast into Rocket Barrage, it's all over for those two supports.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to be a lot down to the positioning coming out from the Rubik as well as Visage. Not the fastest heroes, and if they get peeled apart away from the Morphling and are just caught out alone, potentially trying to get a pull, potentially looking for a stack, they'll be in a lot of trouble. For now, we are going to have the Nature's Prophet Treant scouting things out, so they're not going to be caught unawares. This is going to be a tri-lane versus tri-lane. And, well, the first couple of minutes are probably going to be pretty crucial for both teams. As whoever gets the advantage there is going to sustain it pretty heavily. I think this is probably the lane that we're looking at first blood in.
Yeah, most likely. And taking a quick look at the other lanes, since we're most likely going to be ignoring them, DDX is going to be going up against Yuka's Death Prophet. And in that scenario, Death Prophet typically does have a little bit of advantage, just having more attack range is going to be huge for her to poke at the Storm Spirit, whereas the Storm Spirit can't really poke her back. So I expect to see the Death Prophet taking a very slight lead on the Storm Spirit and potentially even getting kills if the Storm Spirit gets a little bit too out of position. And then at the top lane we got Razor versus Nature Prophet. Should be pretty even there. They're going to go for a stun on the bottom. Vestius is not going to get hit with a concussive shot. It's just Arcane Bolts. He's still taking a lot of damage regardless, but Fullback can't get close enough for the Rocket Barrage. Vestius, though, still taking quite a bit. Zero armor, not really helping him. Needs 2 more hits. He's going to salve up. The gunshot is going to clear that salve up, and it will go down. Skywrath Mage going to claim first blood. However, now the Morphling is going to retaliate. Waveform forward is going to give him the retaliation kill. Now Fullback doing a lot of damage from the creeps. Lifted up into the air. Gui is going to secure this kill for himself, it looks like. Rubik is going to take that one. Isurus, they dive super aggressively. Kind of to be expected from Isurus in general. They like to just go off the rails like that. But I'm not exactly sure if that was worth it. Leposa's now at level 2, so he has Waveform and Morph, and he's holding on to quite a bit of gold.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the Skywrath Mage who gets the first blood, which on paper is fine, but they gave up 2 kills in order to do so, and the Morphling involved in both of those. Leposa is going to be very happy with how that early engagement went, and losing the Visage, it's not the worst. Although Visage is not wanting to start off slowly, he can catch up, and they'll probably leave him in a lane in order to get his level 6 up, so it's not actually going to be that bad for THD. It's a fairly even exchange, slightly favoring the Radiant. But yeah, currently the Morphling, he shouldn't die with Waveform, now level 2. He should be absolutely fine. I doubt they're going to be able to catch him out. Gui may be in a little bit more trouble, but also sitting at level 2, the level advantage coming out from THD is going to be pretty solid, as nobody on the side of Isurus has ticked their level 2 just yet.
Yeah, I think it's really just the levels of those 2 kills that are going to put THD at that much more of an advantage. Having a Fade Bolt, whereas the enemy only have, Arcane Bolt or whatever, so... And the fact that Visage is going to get a little bit tankier, possibly going to get that extra slow off Grave Chill, although Visage, no, actually, he didn't get any experience. So really, it's going to be Leposa and Gui who really benefit off of the levels. They're holding on to now 2 level 2 spells, whereas Isurus, their Wraith King, is only level 1, and the Skywrath Mage just hit level 2. So if it does come to a burst fight, then the damage from the houses down, because they've gotten that extra experience, is going to be a lot more substantial, just because their nukes are going to be hitting harder and just stuff like that. Top lane, Jubilu's getting zoned out really hard by Dulce. This Razor, as expected, is going to be having a pretty comfortable time up on this top lane until he decides to walk through the tier 1 tower. That's going to hurt a little bit, but he's going to be just fine. Not much that Nature Prophet could do about this. Treant Harassment is only going to get you so far.
Yeah. Well, bottom lane is going to be where we have our eyes set for the most part. Morphling not farming incredibly well, although it's still decent enough. 6-1 to start things off, tying with the Gyrocopter, but being involved in the 2 kills is going to help him out. The pull has not been successfully blocked, or I believe it was dewarded by Vestius, who's now going to be running those for his team. Going to be able to find himself a little bit of experience that way. But yeah, right now it's going to be THD that are favored in the tri-lane, and if any more kills happen, or if THD are able to find any more kills, Isurus might be forced to dissolve their tri-lane. It definitely wouldn't help them out in the slightest. Let's see, the Gyrocopter hasn't finished up the Basilius for the lane either, so Mana Sustain is going to be a little bit problematic, although Nadera is sitting on 1 Clarity, and we're actually going to see the Wraith King start up an Ancient stack. It's fairly early on for this, as the only hero that can clear these comfortably is the Gyrocopter, and even then, not until he has a lot more levels and or a Helm of the Dominator.
And both of those aren't going to come for quite a long time. Gyrocopter is farming okay, 9 for 3 versus the 9 for 1 for the Morphling, so he's going to be getting quite a bit of gold, but splitting levels between 3 heroes in this aggressive tri-lane without getting any kills to really accelerate him is going to mean that high levels of Flat Cannon is going to take quite a long time to actually pick up. Whereas the Morphling, he's splitting experience with just 2 heroes, and of course Vestius is also getting his levels in the jungle. So Isurus, if they just keep maintaining like this, it's not going to be helping them anytime soon, because they have to be getting kills or getting something done besides just farming on this bottom lane. Otherwise, they're just going to fall further behind the Morphling as far as levels are concerned. And when you're talking about a Gyrocopter and a Skywrath Mage, those levels are just so much... They have so much importance. You need high levels of Rocket Barrage in order to burst down people. Of course, you need high levels of Flat Cannon to farm, and Call Down is pretty good as well. So this bottom lane for Isurus, it didn't have a great start, and it's continuing to not go that well, even though it's kind of just a vanilla lane. Nothing's really happening. That's benefiting the houses down in the long run. Now they're going to get lifted up onto the Wraith King. Waveform forward, and Vestius is going to drop a Soul Assumption if he has to. It won't even be necessary. Leposa is going to get amplified. He's taking a lot of damage, but the Strength Morph is there. Fullback can't quite do enough damage. Another Soul Assumption for Vestius. Not quite available, but he doesn't really need it either. Udara is going to hit with a really hard Waveform from Leposa, and now Gui looking for a lift up. Unfortunately, couldn't get the angle there. Nadera, with the high movement speed of a boot Skywrath Mage, is going to slip away, but the houses down get another 2 very easy kills down on this bottom lane. And Isurus, as I said, if they're not getting kills, then they're going to be falling further and further behind, and dying is just the worst possible scenario for them.
It is. They are going to go back down to this lane, but the kills just got a whole lot harder to snag as Morphling... His Strength Morph was coming in pretty huge there, as they just weren't able to burst him down. They had the silence for a decent duration, although he was still able to get enough health back in order to keep on fighting. He was very low, but fortunately enough for him, and probably just good game sense, he was able to avoid the Skywrath Mage, who had no mana, in order to throw out another Arcane Bolt that would have killed him off.
Oh man, Yuka and DDX are just going at it. DDX lives at like double-digit HP, like 10 HP or something like that, because the Death Prophet didn't realize that the Storm Spirit was that low, and if she landed one more right-click, or if she fired a right-click at all, it would have gotten a kill. But DDX is certainly playing with fire, as he's just very, very reliant on the Bottle Crow. Speaking of Bottle Crow, well, the Courier's not going to get intercepted, but yeah, DDX has now been sufficiently zoned out. He's at such a ranged deficit that the Death Prophet can both right-click and Crypt Swarm harass the Storm Spirit, and without the bottle, he's not able to stand up in the lane. And I don't really know if he's gotten any runes. I've seen Yuka get a Illusion rune and a Regen rune, and I guess that's pretty much all the runes that have been spawning, bar one, so it's so far going very, very well for the Death Prophet, kind of to be expected, whereas Jubiloop on top lane, gonna go for a surround on Dulce. Oh, that was so close to a surround. That would have been a kill as well. He's going to go for the Sprout anyway, but Dulce just barely managing to escape death there. That was really close.
Skywrath Mage as well as Wraith King are bumping into Yuka, although they don't know it, as Yuka is invis up. I don't think there's any kill potential at all, and they're just going to straight up rotate these supports off of the Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter is going to pick up some much needed levels, but he can't show his face to farm in this lane anymore. 16-5 on the Gyrocopter, it's not going to get much better until he's able to farm up the stacks that have been made in his Ancients.
And rotation up from the Wraith King, just going to search out for the Nature's Prophet, but running into a creep wave means Nature's Prophet knows exactly what's going on. THD, they haven't really started any of their pushing just yet, and really I don't think they have to. Morphling could have easily gone out mid lane. LDS is going to be a little bit of trouble. He's going to get silenced, but I don't think there's enough burst damage to kill him down. He could ball lightning out right now, or just go for Jubilee. In fact, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to get the kill on Nature's Prophet, then ball lightning with the rest of his mana to get the hell out of there. Nidar taking quite a bit of damage from Yuka, but both of those heroes will slip out alive, and Isurus finally get something going, although that was really, really ambitious from the houses down. Trying to burst down a Storm Spirit within the duration of a level 1 silence is really hard to do.
Yeah, 3 seconds just not going to cut it. If they had more levels than that silence, maybe, just maybe, but you're not going to see that in a Death Prophet this early on. Death Prophet does have the point into Exorcism, but only 1 point up into Witchcraft. Her tower pushing is going to be delayed for quite some time. And Power Tread's now on your Storm Spirit, as well as the Ball Lightning that we saw being pretty crucial at getting the kill on the, Nature's Prophet, I believe.
Radiant's top towers.
But yeah, Gyrocopter currently is getting some experience. Our tower is sitting at level 4. This early game just not working out for the Gyro at all. This Gyrocopter, they're going to attempt to TP back in Jubilee. He's hanging around, going to summon some treants, and it looks like they're just going to go for this tower push. There's no real reason why not, as the Gyrocopter alone can't do anything. Now with DDX and Skywrath Mage joining the fray, they might be able to make a fight happen, or take a fight under their tower. But for now, it is just going to be back off from THD.
Gyrocopter's only level 4. If he had his call down, then I'm pretty sure Isurus would have jumped in on that, but without that huge ultimate, they're not going to be able to get much done. And THD, they're still in the area. They backed off for a little bit, but now that the Storm Spirit is wandering off the lane, they'll be able to just re-engage with the rest of the treants and the rest of the creep wave. This tower, it's going to be very, very slowly pushed down, seeing as though really the only pushing tool outside Nature's Prophet that they have going for them is the Ring of Basilius, which is turned on from the Morphling. But it's slow and steady, and really fullback by himself can't really do much to defend against this. He's getting a good amount of experience, and he's, again, desperately needing of it. But this tower is going to be pushed down one way or another, as Jubilee is actually going to teleport up top, going to look for Zuni. Zuni's not level 6. I don't know why he's so low on HP. He's going to throw the Wraithfire Blast and TP out. It looks like he will be just fine. I don't know where the Wrath of Nature went, but it definitely didn't bounce to the right target.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Jubilee. He couldn't, just drop it right onto the Wraith King, because that wouldn't have done enough damage, but it just found too many units across the map to where the Wraith King was able to TP out in time. So Wraith King surviving, pretty close call for the Wraith King, but Wraith King also sitting on level 4. I don't know, the levels just aren't coming out for Isurus fast enough. The levels coming out for THD are also not that great, especially on the Visage, but he's been mostly just chilling around in the jungle, and 1 or 2 kills, that's going to put Visage at his level 6 mark, which is all that he really needs. Wraith King is rotating down towards bottom, looking for a deny in the tower. I think they'll be able to find it. Well, Visage, he's going to get the tower last hit, and now Zuni is going to back off. There's no real ability for them to go for more than that, and the tower last hit secured by THD will give them quite a bit more gold in their pockets. Leposa, this game, going to be going for a Lincoln Sphere, presumably, will delay any initiations that the Storm Spirit wants to go on him if he picks up an Orchid or what have you, but currently Leposa, standing right next to Fullback, even though he doesn't know it, Fullback is farming up his Ancient stack, so maybe some experience will be stolen, but right now, it is just going to be dropped to about half, as Wraith King gets a deny on mid tower, as the Exorcism was used in order to drop it low.
That's a pretty clutch deny from the Wraith King. I missed that one, but also up on top, Nature's Prophet tried to go for Nidara's Skyrath, but ended up getting jumped by DDX, who, by the way, is going to run into a free kill. I love it when kills just walk into my lap. DDX is going to get this one, you know, oh, maybe not. He doesn't have enough damage? He does have enough damage, yeah. Storm Spirit, level 9, running into a level 6 Rubik is going to be a free kill, unless Rubik steals Ball Lightning, which then makes it possible for the Rubik to potentially escape, but it is going to be unlikely. Isurus has tied the score up 4-4, and really DDX's Storm Spirit has been doing quite a bit. He's 3-0-0 right now, and he's pretty much survived through the toughest part of the Storm Spirit game, which is the very, very early stage before he hits level 6. Now that he does have that level 6, he's going to be looked to making the jump on people, namely the Nature's Prophet, who is most likely going to be the most vulnerable hero to this Storm Spirit. But for now, it's going to be a smoke up from the two supports, in fact, as they do have level 6 on the Skyrath Mage. If they land any sort of disable at all onto Jubilu, he's pretty much dead. Wraith King is going to have to play this a little bit slow as the tower. I think Dulce should just dive the tower right now. Not to go for Jubilu, I meant to get the tower. He's going to get lifted up into the air, and he's going to be brought down fairly quickly as the Plasma Field is stolen by Gooey. The tower's going to be destroyed by the Dire. Zuni is here as well, but I don't really know why. The Skyrath Mage did not follow the Wraith King in. Man, I thought said Razor should dive the tower. I meant to kill the tower, not to go behind and try to kill someone else. That seemed like a bad idea, and DDX going to get a kill on the Death Prophet in exchange, but still Isurus. That was questionable to say the least.
Yeah, that's going to give Vicious his crucial level 6 and a very awkward move coming up from them. The connection just wasn't really there. Skyrath Mage was nowhere to be seen. The Wraith King kind of awkwardly ran after the Razor when he more or less just gave away his life to the enemy team. Now the tier 1 tower in the safe lane is also going to fall, and I don't know, THD, despite having to deal with a Storm Spirit, this might be manageable for them. The Storm Spirit, they don't have enough lockdown to really keep him in place, but if they are able to get the silence from the Death Prophet off, it might be enough. Let's see. DDX working towards this Orchid next. He's going to get pretty close as now they go, looks like, onto Yuka. They're not going to commit to that as Nature's Prophet was TPing in. He did have backup in the form of Gooey. And so, nothing's actually going to happen in mid lane, although Yuka is poking his head across the river.
They're going to go for top. Dulce is going to eat his way out of that Sprout, though. The house is down. They did have probably enough to kill off the Razor, although it probably would have been also very, very close. Razor with that mech is rather durable at this stage of the game. And now that DDX is completely full on mana, and he has an Oblivion Staff, so he's working on his Orchid. It'll be up soon enough. He's going to be looking for a kill. I don't think he really cares who. As long as he could jump in on them and have his way, then there should be kills happening for his Storm Spirit because, again, full mana. He's pretty much maxed out at this point, which he'll have a small jump of power once he gets the Orchid, but right now he could pretty much go on to anyone, especially this Rubik and especially this Visage. Everyone else is also viable. This stack of Ancients hasn't quite been cleared by Isurus just yet, so Fullback is still pretty poor, and he says Phase Boots Aquila 12 minutes into the game. Take a quick look at Morphling in comparison, who has Power Treads, Perseverance, and 1,800 gold, so Fullback is in desperate need of a little bit more gold, and he's going to get a little bit more right now, but even if he does get a BKB, he's not going to be doing much, as DDX is going to go for Yuka. Invis Rune, though, popped, although there's a Sentry there. Now Yuka is going to be dropped very quickly. Jubilu going to get the Sprout into DDX, but that's not a good thing to do, because DDX wants blood, and he wants Jubilu's blood. He's going to use the rest of his mana to get up to the high ground. He's going to walk away with the double kill, TP out to safety. That was very, very well played by that Storm Spirit, with just enough mana to teleport out.
Yeah, that was perfect. You can't really ask for more. Storm Spirit keeping himself safe at the same time picking up a kill. Wonderful. Let's see. Yeah, he's pretty much the only thing that's going right for Isurus. The Razor is getting some pretty decent farm with the Mechanism as well as Phase Boots, but the Gyrocopter just hasn't really come to fruition yet. He is going to be farming up that Ancient stack slowly but surely. He has been blocked out by the Sentry coming up from Radiant, but they won't be able to stop Fullback from taking it. He'll need one more flak, I think, in order to take that fully as they go down and bottom on Leposa. They can't take him. Wraithfire Blast is all that was thrown out, and Jubilu TPing in just in case there was any backup, which there wasn't.
Yeah, Fullback really doesn't want to fight right now. He needs 2 items before he's really comfortable joining the fights, just because Gyrocopter ordinarily you would say Rocket Barrage and Call Down, fantastic skills, you want to be fighting with that, but not as much so in this game just because he is so far behind. Rocket Barrage is a lot more of a great skill when you're in that laning stage, and you're most likely going to be hitting only one person with that Rocket Barrage. Later on at this stage, when you're going to be running into Nature's Prophet and Familiars and stuff like that, suddenly Rocket Barrage isn't able to instantly kill anyone like it is going to in like the first 3 minutes of the game. So fullback missed a little bit of an option there, so now he's going to be in this little bit of an odd timing where he's going to want to go for a cooldown and not die to dragons. That's a very good idea, fullback. I'm just watching him clear Ancients, and he's dropping pretty low. There's no lifesteal or anything like that. They're going to, looks like, mobilize on top lane, while Isurus have their hands full with this Ancient stack. Man, it's like Radiant versus Dire versus Ancients, and Ancients are doing pretty well this game.
Yeah, I would say so. Fullback now finds himself a bottle charge from his friendly Storm Spirit, and we'll be able to find that last Ancient Black Dragon, and we'll get that last hit. Yeah, there you go. Fullback now sitting on 1,000 gold on top of a Mithril Hammer that he has in the Courier. So he's going to get close to that BKB. The smoke comes out from Isurus with the Storm Spirit as well as the Scarlet Mage. They can pretty much kill anybody on the map, including the Morphling, as long as they land the Silence on the Leposa. Let's see, are they going to be able to find him? And are they going to be able to line this up? And it looks like they might not even bump into him. Smoke not going to pop, although getting very close. Nighttime Vision going to come in potentially big as they find, there goes the Morphling. He's silenced up with the Orchid, and now they're going to drop him down with the Mystic Flare on top. Scarlet Mage finds himself the kill. Nature's Prophet ultimate bounces through, but well-executed gank, and first usage of the Orchid is going to be very impactful. Morphling can't really farm safely until he has the Lincoln Sphere, and even then, still can be killed by the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, I think they could kill him off within the duration of an Electric Vortex, especially when you drop that flare on him as well. So Morphling looked to be pretty safe. Unfortunately, the Observer Ward that was just placed from Isurus coming in big, it got them a kill, and really you can't ask for much more from your vision. So off of that, they're going to try to go for a mid-tier push, but Isurus, they don't really have a great pushing comp. They don't really have any pushing heroes at all. In fact, all the pushing is in the favor of the Houses Down. So they need to be looking for team fights, and they probably will be once the Gyrocopter gets his BKB. But until then, it's going to be DDX pretty much running the show by himself. And the show is going to start Act 1 with the jump in on Yuka. There's the Orchid Silence. He's going to get hit with a pretty large ball lightning, and Yuka is going to be demolished by the Storm Spirit. Easy pickings for him. Now Isurus can go for a little bit of pressure in this lane, but they don't have their Wraith King, and really they don't have enough gas to go for this. Storm Spirit needs a little bit more time to get a little bit more of that Orchid generation, though. They are going to have a blinking Wraith King soon enough, so once the blink comes up on him, as well as the BKB up on the Gyrocopter, then Isurus are going to have pretty much everything that they would need to take a team fight, and hopefully try to take some of these towers off of those fights.
Yep, Wraith King does have the Blink Dagger in his inventory now, so it's going to be online immediately. The Death Prophet this game has been picked off time and time again by the Storm Spirit mostly. 0 and 3 on the Death Prophet, although she does have that crucial level 11, which will allow her to push into towers pretty effectively, although not having the tank items to back it up with only phase drums. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. So yeah, still waiting on the BKB timing for the Gyrocopter that's getting ever closer for Isurus. Yeah, up top, TP away from Dulce is not going to keep him safe as Nature's Prophet, as well as the Death Prophet, are going to be able to find that kill. That last Spirit from the Death Prophet going to nick the Razor as he tries to TP back to base.
Nature's Prophet going to be going for an Orchid of his own to try to hopefully put a stop to DDX, but the Storm Spirit should be going for a BKB, so I don't know how much that Orchid is actually going to be used. It was going to give him just enough damage to kill off the Razor, though. Oblivion Staff's not spectacular damage, but it's just going to be enough, and now they're going to go for fullback, who's also going to get cornered with the rest of that Exorcism. Death Prophet caught him literally in a corner, and well, she brought him down very easily. Now they're looking for Vestius mid, potentially. DDX could have jumped in on that, but potentially risking a little bit too much with the Rubik right there. Now he's going to jump in. Bad timing, bro. He's going to get silenced. Mystic Flare is going to be dropped on Gooey, although it won't kill him off. LDS is going to be killed for the Houses Down. That was like the most awkwardly timed shuffle that I've ever seen before. It's like, oh, you had an opportunity to kill the Visage, but you didn't take it. Instead, you waited for the rest of his team to come in, then you tried to fight. Not a good plan, and now Storm Spirit forced to buy back. He's going to teleport straight down to the bottom lane. Ball Lightning going for Jubilee. They're both going to silence each other, and well, it's going to mean that Jubilee gets to teleport out. That's a little bit awkward, but it's going to ultimately secure the Nature Prophet's escape and force the buyback out of the Storm Spirit. That's actually a pretty big win for the Houses Down. Yeah,
especially when you get Morphling getting the Wicked 6 streak, and also the Storm Spirit buying back is going to mean that he's not going to have any item progression after this. So right now, his early game presence has pretty much all been used up. It's all onto the gyrocopter, and he also died previous to that, and is still quite a ways away from his BKBs. He was saving up for the recipe when he fell. So THD are looking pretty solid right now. Despite the Morphling not hitting the hardest, he's going to be pretty comfortable around the map. As long as he has TP supports, the Nature's Prophet is going to drop to the Storm Spirit. This time, Silence is not going to come out fast enough, and the Storm is able to right-click him down. Didn't expect that to happen a second time, but I suppose try again, and DDX is going to find himself another kill on Nature's Prophet.
I think crucially, the most important thing, like not only taking up the Nature's Prophet from the map, but TDX now knows that he could go for these solo kills on the Nature's Prophet and kill anyone else who is appropriately tanky. So the Storm Spirit is going to get quickly to his level 16, which is going to mean that he's going to be able to get in and get out a little bit quicker. And really, with the mana pool, he jumped pretty much close to the secret shop area, all the way down to where that Nature's Prophet was. So he burned a lot of mana in order to go for that, and he got the kill. So Storm Spirit's going to feel pretty comfortable with where he is right now, and instead of BKB, he's going to be picking up a Staff of Wizardry. Not really sure where this is going to be going towards. Eul Scepter out of Atos going to be the most viable options, I would say, but still the Storm Spirit, as long as he doesn't get locked down, is going to be running amok, and the house is down with only the telekinesis from the Rubik to answer him, is going to really struggle against the Storm Spirit. So I mean, Isurus, they're going to still struggle to find any sort of pushes and really any sort of team fights. With the BKB finally picked up by the Gyrocopter, they will be okay to fight, but I don't know if it's going to be as comfortable as they may like to think. Though DDX, he's always an X factor as Storm Spirit. If he lands a couple of heroes in the Ball Lightning and Static Remnant, he could very easy take down people. And now Gui actually going to get a nice powered 90. Dara's going to chase this one down. I don't know if it's worth a Mystic Flare. It's not going to get the kill just yet, but no, with Zuni coming in as well, it will be a kill. So they do get a pick off on the Rubik, and they don't even use any mana on the Storm Spirit, which is pretty nice for them, as Storm Spirit's going to go for the Posta down bottom, who just used a waveform for the Posta. He's going to get the Orchid onto the Morphling, but he can't actually follow up because of the Ghost Scepter. Morphling is just straight rushing the shotgun. Now Zuni caught out in the middle lane. He's going to use his Reincarnation. Blink out. It's going to be in time. Yuka even using the Ecticism for that. They're going to use the rest of this to go for this push, but I think this is going to be the fight that Isurus want to take, where Jubilu and Yuka both kind of use all their tools right now. The call down, going to severely weaken the creep wave and hit all the heroes as well. Looking for a Storm Spirit jump, but it looks like it's not going to happen. Double TP away. They're all going to the top lane, where the Razor has been pushing that all the while. So Isurus, they defend their bottom, and they don't get the kill on the Morphling, unfortunately. But they also force away the Exorcism, which is probably the crucial win for Isurus there.
Yeah, the item choice for the Storm Spirit is going to be a Force Staff. Akin to the Atos as well as the Eul Scepter, it's going to be used to pop the Lincoln Sphere on the Morphling so they can go for that kill. But then again, Ghost Scepter is going to more or less completely stop that. As despite Storm Spirit being mostly magical damage as he goes onto the Nature's Prophet, as we see that in play, they're not even going to need Mystic Flare or anything of the sorts, as Nature's Prophet just melts the damage of those two. Yeah, amplified by the Ancient Seal as well as by the Orchid, Nature's Prophet did not stand a chance at all.
So even though Isurus, they're getting all these kills, and that's eventually going to put them in the gold and experience lead, they're not actually capitalizing on this with any sort of objective. Because again, every single kill they get is only one kill, and even with that, the house is down. They're still farming decently. The Morphling is well on his way to a shotgun, already has Lincoln Sphere and the Ghost Scepter purchased up. Once he has that, then the houses down are going to be stopping this like super defensive play, because by that time, Visage should also have his Aghanim's up. So Isurus, though they're getting picks occasionally, I don't think they're really getting enough, because soon the house is down are just going to crash upon Isurus, and then at that point the Gyrocopter is going to be the most important hero for Isurus, along with that Storm Spirit. And the Gyrocopter doesn't have anything. He has his PKB and 1,000 gold, but he's been farming remarkably slowly for a Gyrocopter, and Isurus, they're okay without the Gyrocopter for now, but that's not going to be the case shortly, because the Storm Spirit is eventually not going to be able to 100 to 0 people, and especially when the house is down are all grouped up. So Isurus, I don't really know if they are playing this one correctly. They need more farm in the Gyrocopter if they're going to take this late, or they need to group up and play aggressive if they're going to look to end it before the Gyrocopter's lack of farm really becomes an issue.
Yeah, right now they're going to attempt to go on the Visage or the Nature's Prophet, but the Silence as well as the stuns coming through DDX, he's not going to be dropped down just yet, but the Eul Scepter up in the air, follow up with the Lift or anything. No, he's going to be able to ball lightning very far towards his base. Now attempt to TP out, he should be just fine. Yep, that's going to be about all she wrote. The Storm Spirit, despite not having a BKB, is still going to be pretty safe up against THD, as that's pretty much all that they have. As they go for the Wraith King down at bottom, he'll be able to TP out safely, as there's no way to cancel that. Rubik, TP was just too long.
Yeah, well, Storm Spirit getting the Force Staff. Normally it would be a little bit of mobility overkill, but not when you're facing down Orchid. BKB would have done the same thing. He actually could have probably turned it around if he had a BKB, but pushing yourself out of the Sprout is always going to be fairly useful and getting rid of the, or kind of minimizing the impact of the Nature's Prophet Orchid. The game is going to continue as such. Really, the only hero that we have to watch very closely is DDX's Storm Spirit, because he's capable of making those solo kills, whereas everyone else on the Isurus and really the House's downside, they're just happily farming away. Gooey going to be spotting out Fullback's Ancient Stack, and the Familiars are actually going to jack a couple of them, I think. There's one Lizard taken by Purple, and that looks to be it. Fullback could annihilate these Familiars in a little bit, but now with the double stun, he's going to take a little bit of disruption there. DDX is rotating around, so we might have a fight brewing on the bottom lane as Fullback is going to try to kill some Familiars. Doesn't really get any. And yeah, both teams just kind of passively waiting and farming. Eventually, this is going to benefit the Houses down, I feel.
Yeah. Visage just lost one of his familiars to flat cannon damage, and he was just sitting a little too close as the Visage is able to snag one of the last hits and gets to resummon. So, I don't know, he steals 150 gold away, but then feeds away 100 of his own. So, marginal win for THD. It's not really significant at all. But yeah, Storm Spirit, he is smoked up. It is going to pop in the poor Rubik as he lifts up the Storm Spirit to throw him back in. There's no other follow-up, and now he's going to silence up Gooey and almost just destroys him with the Ball Lightning in. And DTX is going to find himself a kill richer, as now with the double damager, and he's going to be Yule's Sceptered up in the air. And he's going to purge it off. The silence is not going to land on DDX, however, and he'll be just fine 4 staffs across and doesn't need the Ball Lightning anymore. He does have stick charges as well as plenty of balls to keep him in a pretty comfortable spot as far as mana is concerned, and will be just fine. Visage, it's actually unfortunate they used the resummon there, as he now has his Aghanim Scepter completed and won't be able to use that for another 2 minutes or so. Yeah, looks like they're angling down towards bottom. The Nature's Prophet, oh, they're going to BKB, forced out of Fullback. He's not going to be able to get that cancelled, as there's nothing to stop that. He'll be able to get back to his own base. The Exorcism Pop, they're not close enough to a tower to really make good use of this, but it looks like they're going to try. Down to the tier 2 tower in bottom, they will probably be able to put some pretty significant damage onto it, and already down about a quarter. They might be able to take it, although I doubt it. Let's see if there's going to be a significant defense from Isurus, and it looks like for now there's not going to be one, as Razor's going down towards bottom with his Aghanim Scepter, and everybody else is just not in position. At the very best for Isurus, it is going to be just a tower trade, and it looks like that's what's going to happen.
If Rubik shows his face, or, well, doesn't even need to, because mass TPs onto this bottom lane. Jublu's going to be the first. Jumps in for a blink and Sprout onto Dulce. Not really doing anything, as Dulce is going to bail, leaving LDS all alone. 4-staff out is going to keep him safe for now. I don't know if it's going to be safe enough, though. He's going to get used up into the air, dropping in Ball Lightning. No, this time the telekinesis is there. Gooey is not going to mess up a second time. They finally catch up to the Storm Spirit, and they bring him down, and they take a tower. So Isurus, nothing but losses there. And the house is down. Just start making things happen. The farm is slowly starting to kick in for them, especially the Blink Dagger Nature's Prophet, which caught the Razor completely by surprise. If the Razor had, a full tank of health and mana, and he didn't teleport out, then he could have very easily turned that around with the Storm Spirit and gotten, 1, maybe even 2 kills before they were forced out or they died. They're going to keep pushing, though, without the Storm Spirit. Isurus can't really make a substantial defense right now. Maybe disable on the post. No, not Nidara's going to get Orchided. That's the worst possible way to start that. Jublu's going to blink forward and secure that kill. Meanwhile, Razor up into the air is going to get lifted again by the Rubik, who's stolen Static Link, but Dulce has already stolen quite a bit of damage. Leposa is going to try to ward him away. In the meantime, they're going to go for Jublu in the back end. Zuni already opened up with the stun. Now Fullback trying to close into the Nature's Prophet, who will sprout himself, and he will go down. And now Razor's still chasing his targets. Isn't really going to find anyone. All these heroes are pretty damn quick. Phase Boots is going to be nice to catch up to Vestius, but well, right now Rubik is going to be completely fine. Yuka taking a good amount of damage as well. I think they could just Yule Scepter and teleport out at the exact same time, and they will be just fine to do so. Zuni is trying to catch up, but it's not going to happen, and Storm Spirit is still dead. So it's the house is down, taking a pretty nice trade, mostly in the fact that they capitalized somewhat off of that Storm Spirit, and they didn't really lose all that much. It was only the Nature's Prophet.
Yep. Crucially, now we have Leposa picking up his Ethereal Blade, which will help quite a bit at bursting all these targets from Isurus. The Skywrath Mage, as well as the Storm Spirit in particular, as neither of them with BKBs, they're going to be very easy to drop. The Wraith King will be all too happy to eat the shotgun combo, as he does have his ultimate now at level 11, as well as, I don't know, just taking that away from one of the other heroes. And if the BKB's down, well, DDX is going to 4-staff away. Will he be able to survive? The silence is still persisting, and through the trees they need a little bit more damage. They're not going to find his Bolt Lightnings all the way back to his tier 2 tower. Jublu not having a TP, they're just going to transition us into a tier 2 tower push. The Storm Spirit is as good as dead, waiting in base, and he doesn't have a TP to get back to the tower. They might have to pop Exorcism for this, but then again, it's not the healthiest of towers, and they should be able to just take this without much of contention. They're going to clear up the creep wave as they silence up the Wraith King doubly, and now almost blow up the Skywrath Mage. There you go, with the Adaptive Strike to finish him off. The Exorcism is running on the tower, and they're not cleaning up as fast as I thought they would, but they're going to be able to get it as the blink away from Jubilu. It's going to keep them safe, but now the Storm Spirit zips in very deep onto Jubilu. They throw up the Storm Spirit up in the air. The cooldown is also dropping through as Jubilu attempts to TP out. Will he be able to make it? Silence onto LDS is not going to be enough as Jubilu is going to be missiled up. They clean up the Rubik on the sidelines as well. Storm Spirit continuously zips, not going to find anybody else, and is now completely out of mana. Well, in Roshan Pit, they are going to go Isurus with the Wraith King. They have a decent amount of sustain, although the Gyrocopter's not there. This is not a very fast Roshan. With Visage Familiars, I'm not sure if they actually want to go for it.
Well, if Visage Familiars, you're going to get ground up in the flat cannon, so he has to play that a little bit carefully. But House is down, really taking kind of a scattered fight there. They get Nidara with the shotgun, which is kind of to be expected. It's what you do when you're Morphling, and the enemy has a Skywrath Mage on their team, so it's the expected result from there. But once DDX comes back into the fight, then the House is down can't really afford to get a decent fight, because once they use the Levitate on Storm Spirit and then run, it's just all over for them. Storm Spirit is going to only have to worry about that, and then he'll just run a train over the Houses down. Zuni is going to die to the Roshan, which is, just fine, I guess. It's a good thing the Houses down don't know about this, so maybe they won't be too inclined to focus down this Wraith King, thinking that he has reincarnation, but nobody tell them that he actually doesn't. It's going to be at the cost of the top tier 2 tower. The mid tier 2 tower, though it was pushed by the Houses down, it's going to survive at 3 HP, so if you breathe on this tower, it will fall down. The question is, who's going to breathe near it first? And Dulce, well, he's going to walk right by. Do they really not realize that this tower is literally one hit away from any creep in the game, and he'll kill it off? But it's a little bit awkward. It will be brought down eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, the House is down. They finally take a kind of a dedicated fight, not fully, but they're grouping up more so. Then, well, the LDS is going to go snipe out the Rubik very quickly. He's going to land into a silence, and that's going to be the Aegis down. It's going to take a little bit longer than I thought, but it will be down. Now they have familiar stuns. Let's see if they land it correctly. One. Oh, that's not going to land a single one, actually. Storm Spirit just zips out of there just fine. Taking off the Rubik is all well and good, but so far it seems like Isurus, they've been just playing as 5 single heroes, whereas the House is down, they've been moving a lot more in a group. And outside of the Storm Spirit pickoffs, they've been finding a lot more success that way, as they do get a tower deny over on the bottom lane.
Oh, big zip down on the Nature's Prophet. Jubilu might fall to DDX. One more auto attack is all that he's going to need. What he's going to find is there's no blink available for the Nature's Prophet. Honestly, he might have been able to make that. In the meantime, while that was happening, we do have a Morphling getting a Courier Snipe, and now looking for fullback. No BKBs. He was forced to use that earlier. The Adaptive Strike. No Waveform coming out. The Lincoln Sphere is going to be popped, and the missile will fight through onto Leposa, but now Waveform forward. He's going to destroy the missile, or try to. The TP away from the Gyrocopter will keep him safe. But yeah, Courier pickoff for the Morphling. Just comes up the lane and finds it free. They blew almost everything that they had on the 3 heroes that were up top on a Morphling replicate previous to that fight. Of the Death Prophet, I'm not sure if they thought that that was the real Death Prophet, or they just really didn't want the Morphling to have a replicate out. But yeah, they also forced out the BKB, so Gyrocopter's BKB is going to start wearing down. Although at 8 seconds now, it's going to be very useful in the next couple of fights, but slowly, or maybe not so slowly, it's going to drop down to the territory of 6 to 5 seconds, where it's not going to be enough to save him from the likes of a Morphling that's just going to jump in an Ethereal Blade shotgun him down, especially if it's amplified by an Orchid.
Yeah, while that was happening up top for the Morphling, I was actually watching an invisible Death Prophet with Exorcism chasing down a Skywrath Mage, and those Skywrath Mages does have True Sight. It wasn't enough to save him. They're going to throw Yuka up into the air. Gets silenced immediately, though. She does have a Reaver. She is pretty tanky. I don't know if she's tanky enough. All the Familiars are going to die in 2 barrages of the flat cannon. Yuka is going to be chased down by DDX, going to give him a dominating streak. Now that this silence on DDX, forced out to the high ground, should be just fine, as they're going to leave Zuni and Dulce down in this bottom area. Jubilu's on the way out, and I think he's going to leave in a bag. One more hit from Zuni. It's going to do it. Razor with the Eye of the Storm is going to secure that kill, but here comes the Morphling. Going to kill off Zuni, at least his reincarnation. Razor in the meantime, BKB'd up. Will kill off the Rubik. Now going to start to work towards Vesius, who's going to throw one more ditch effort onto Zuni. But yeah, DDX is nowhere near this. Oh man, if the Storm Spirit didn't disconnect, this could have been potentially a lot cleaner from Isurus, but it's still going very well for them. Like, Dulce is how much damage stolen? Only 56, but 2 more hits I think will kill off the Visage, and Leposa is pretty much out of gas. This Adaptive Strike, I don't know if it's going to kill the Wraith King. It'll definitely bring him very low. You could probably bet that Zuni's mashing his magic stick button right now.
Yeah, I suppose so. Let's see. It's going to be the multiplier of 2 on an agility that's currently at 173 plus 80. I think it's going to kill him, but yeah, let's see. Mash that magic stick. Boom.
Well, what's
Not
going
gonna
to happen?
happen.
Now Dulce is going to keep chasing with the Eye of the Storm. He's going to bring down the Visage, grab the gem. Here comes DDX, freshly reconnected. Is going to silence up Laposa. Strength Morph will not save you here. He's going to try to kill Dulce. It's not going to do it. Isurus, they're going to take a very, very nice team fight. And that's one that the Gyrocopter wasn't even involved in. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that DDX got the jump in on the Death Prophet and brought her down before she could use anything. So Isurus, they get the necessary pick off, and off of that team fight, they're going to be taking a tier 2 tower at the very least. Rubik is going to be up soon, but no one else from the houses down is. Morphling doesn't really want to use a buyback for this, but I think he might have to if he wants to not lose his Raxes.
Tier 3 tower is going to be glyphed up. 40 seconds on the Morphling. Yeah, I think he does have to buy back here. It's not going to be what he wants to do, but I think it's just going to be forced or not. Tier 3 tower is going to fall, and they're going to try to back off, but the Eul Scepter from the Death Prophet is going to make this difficult. BKB TP out from fullback. He's going to be able to make it out alive as Rubik does steal himself the flak cannon. Scythe of Ice now completed on DDX. BKBs are for scrubs. He's going to just have the straight up Scythe in order to focus down targets, and in the fights, he really hasn't felt like he needed a BKB. Satanic now completed on the Gyrocopter. He's hitting pretty darn hard. Another pause as they're going to look for the familiar drops. Oh my goodness. What a timing for a pause. Nadera, I think he's just going to die here. Let's see.
Well, that's awkward. DDX literally just stepped into the range creep's vision, so they know where the Storm Spirit is. Storm Spirit knows where Vestius is. Is he going to go for it? No, it's actually going to be Nadera, who is going to be picked off in the end, hidden in a corner. So DDX not going to help out. He's instead going to waste all of his mana, then teleport out. He actually got the Courier Snipe. Unfortunately for him, there was nothing on the Courier, but I guess a little bit more gold never really hurts. In exchange for the Skywrath Mage at this point is a perfectly reasonable trade for Isurus. And, well, they have to replicate that last fight. I think another big part of what went right for Isurus in that fight was the fact that Gyrocopter in 2 shots killed all the familiars of Vestius, and he didn't get any damage out for them at all. No stuns, no right clicks, nothing. So if the Gyrocopter can continue to do that, then you'll be just fine, because you're denying a hero his ultimate. And whenever you do that, I don't really care what ultimate it is, it's going to be pretty influential. And then Gyrocopter, because he survived that fight, now is wielding a Demon Edge along with Satanic. So he's very difficult to kill, and now he's starting to do some pretty serious damage. Nature's Prophet's going to be initiated once again by DDX. I cannot take my eyes off the Storm Spirit for just a second, otherwise I will miss him killing people. With a Sheepstick and Orchid, it's going to get that much easier for him.
Yep. Force Staff to break the Lincoln Sphere on the Morphling. I think he has a pretty decent shot of solo killing up the Morphling as long as the Ethereal Blade's used earlier or is on cooldown when he goes. Either way, most of these heroes on the map are not immune to that. The Death Prophet has a pretty decent chance of surviving, but any of the supports, especially the Rubik and the Nature's Prophet when he's going around the map, are pretty easy pickings for DDX. As DDX currently sitting, waiting in the enemy jungle, looking for a support that might poke their head over. Yeah, he's not going to find anybody, and we'll move on after the Remnant times out. Earlier on in the game, they had some pretty good aggressive vision, and right now it's not a huge exception, as Dulce is going to disconnect, and, well, it's just not looking great for the internet of Isurus.
Internet, too difficult. When you're saying Storm Spirit probably could kill off the Morphling was actually running pretty close to the Storm Spirit, but was just out of static Remnant vision, so I thought we were actually going to see if he was able to do it, because I'm still not sure. The Morphling is sitting at a pretty decent amount of strength, like a lot more so than usual, especially when you're holding on to an Ethereal Blade, but he does have quite a bit of armor. Storm Spirit is going to get close to killing Oposa, but I don't think he can actually finish the job, especially since the possibility of Nature's Prophet teleporting in and helping out is going to mean that Storm Spirit is probably not even going to risk it. It's just an unnecessary risk that is going to most likely not result in a kill, and worst case scenario results in his own death. So in this pause, let's take a quick look at the item progression. In fact, Laposa is going to be going for his match style. We'll keep him very safe from the Orchid of Isurus and the Silence from the Skywrath Mage as well. Gooey's got nothing because he's poor. Visage does have his Aghanim Scepter completed, but it's not doing anything because the Familiars are just dying to the Flak Cannon. Death Prophet has a heart completed, so she's going to be pretty hard to bring down, though. It's definitely possible for Isurus to do so. And Nature's Prophet has been constantly hunted. He's 1, 10, and 5. He doesn't have Jack, whereas on the Isurus side, we have nothing new on the Gyrocopter, nothing new on the Storm Spirit. The Razor is working on to his Refresh Orb. He's actually very close to that. Once he has that, I think Isurus are going to try to go for a high ground push, possibly to finish off the Rax's mid. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just a couple hundred gold off for the Razor. Yeah, I wouldn't be expected to just have him send that to him mostly on the courier right now and just have that pick up, go to the side shop, and then it is just group up time. The barracks wouldn't stand very long, even if they lose a couple of heroes for it. As long as Isurus come away with the melee barracks, it doesn't actually matter much. But let's see, Morphling will have his completed Mantis style for the next fight, so the silences coming up from the Scarth Mage as well as the Orchid are going to be a little bit less impactful, although they should still have at least one on him during the fight. So yeah, it is definitely scary that we're seeing the Razor with this much farm at right about now, currently sitting at the top of the net worth chart, and honestly, I'm not sure how. He's been farming pretty darn well, and the KDA is not terrible. I don't know, I think it's just him farming a lot. He hasn't really been with his team through the majority of this. Every once in a while in a team fight he has been, but for the most part the Razor's just been up in his own little world up on top.
Yeah, and he's brought a little bit of pressure there, but nothing really to write home about. And him and the Gyrocopter have been playing mostly PvE. In this pause, what I would really like to do is calculate how much Leposas can actually put out as far as damage output. Unfortunately, there's no easy-to-find Morphling damage calculator, which you would think would have actually been a thing, but one Google search doesn't really result into anything, so don't really know how much damage he's going to put out, but I certainly know it's going to be enough to almost kill the Storm Spirit, and probably, well, it's definitely going to kill the Skywrath Mage, that's for sure. But Storm Spirit is actually fairly vulnerable to the shotgun, assuming he isn't able to ball lightning himself to safety. If he does get completely focused by this Morphling, it's going to be pretty much 80-ish% of the Storm Spirit's health in one go for the Morphling, and Morphling's still getting stronger, and Storm Spirit doesn't look like he actually wants to build any survivability.
Yeah, okay, so it's 220 agility if he's fully agility morphed, then you have ×2 plus 80 coming up from the Adaptive Strike, ×2 plus 75 from the Ethereal Blade, then you amplify all of that by 40%, or at least the Adaptive Strike by 40%. It's a whole heck of a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't know, that would be something definitely to be seen. It would be nice to just punch in what level the Morphling is and what items he has and see the max amount of damage that combo could do. But either way, we're just going to wait as Dulce is going to complete up his refresher and find himself some familiars, and this just isn't the Visage's game. The Visage, he's probably going to lose these, although I'm not sure they're going to fully commit to them. It's only 2. Yeah, they're going to look for them. Let's see, Plasma Field isn't available, and they're not going to be able to find them. Or will they? A couple more auto attacks, they're going to at least get 1. There's 2. Visage, he does have the resummon available, but that's going to be his last familiar summon for quite some time, and the way these teamfights have been going for him, he just can't have them anywhere near the Gyrocopter when that's popped. He needs to keep them on the outskirts.
TDX is going to get shotgunned and lift up into the air. He will be silenced and annihilated. The shotgun wasn't in the correct order, but it was enough to bring him down pretty low. Now Nadera is going to try to TP out, though the Yule Cyclone is going to say no to that. He's going to fall into a whole pile of the Houses Down heroes, and that's going to be a nice little 2 kills for the Houses Down. They obliterated the Storm Spirit, but honestly, the Storm Spirit didn't have anything in response. Even if he had a BKB, it was just too quick from the Houses Down. So, killing off the key hero in the Storm Spirit, buyback is available for him, and now they're going to try to force it out. Fullback is also spotted. He's going to be initiated upon by Jubilu. There is a silence, and he's going to pop the BKB and try to TP out once again. He will be successful, but this is like the 4th or 5th time that the Gyrocopter is just forced out into the BKB and then to TP out. So, Gyrocopter is still feeling pretty weak in this game. At least he feels himself as pretty weak. He didn't even try to fight that one out.
Yeah, it's going to be down to 6 seconds, and team fight, that could be a pretty big issue for him, especially if Leposa is going to have the second shotgun available in the fight after the cooldowns come back. He is going to have the completed Manta style, and now the Courier has respawned, I believe, for their side, so they are going to be able to send their items out. 2,000 gold on top of it for the Morphling. His next item, I don't know, it could be pretty much anything. You know, an Illusion Rune picked up by the Morphling, those are going to hit pretty hard, although he's not going to be able to use them to much effect, with the exception of pushing out bottom, it seems. So yeah, we're just going to be chilling and waiting, presumably, for the Storm Spirit to come back up, and it looks like Isurus are just going to be not happy with the status quo, but kind of forced into waiting until they find themselves a pick-off with the Storm Spirit, or at the very least, until they can comfortably find themselves a way to jump into the enemy team or push down a lane. Because right now, all of the lanes are pushed out in favor of THD pretty heavily, mostly due to the fact that the Nature's Prophet's been pretty active at keeping those at arm's length, as well as the Morphling with those illusions. Down about the illusions are going to be cleaned up behind where the Tier 2 tower used to stand, but that's about the damage for now.
Morphling is stacking up quite a bit of gold. Butterfly for the shotgun to get that a little bit stronger, or an Eye of Scotty. Either way, Morphling is probably going to go for just a really nice big ticket item. He doesn't have that much to fear in the right click. Razor is still doing quite a bit if he steals a lot from the Morphling, and that's probably the worst case scenario, but Gyrocopter, with Flat Cannon, it's hard to actually use that Butterfly effectively. So, I have Scotty probably going to be the item choice for Morphling, but really he's sitting on such a huge pile of gold that he can make his decisions a little bit later. The game is going to be extended, and if it does come to a super late game scenario, though Morphling is a pretty good hero, I don't know if he could actually go up against the full might of the Gyrocopter and a Razor. Razor's still quite a ways away before he gets seriously tanky, but now they have to start worrying about the Wraith King, or soon they have to start worrying about the Wraith King, because he's holding on to a plate mail and 3,300 Gs. He almost has his completed Assault Cuirass, I want to say, and once he has that, it's just a stone's throw away from Maelstrom and Abyssal and all sorts of things that make the Wraith King hit really hard. So Isurus, they're transitioning a good amount of their lineup into a semi-carry / carry role.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems that Isurus are going to be pretty happy with just keeping the game where it is. The Morphling's currently at his peak, and there's no reason to force the issue on the Morphling right now. As if you try to jump into him, you're probably going to die, as seen by the Storm Spirit down in bottom. The Storm Spirit currently looking for the Nature's Prophet, presumably, but he's up top. He will get vision inside the trees. He's not going to summon anything just yet. The creeps are just going to casually walk by before he does anything. And Nature's Prophet, ooh, Morphling going to find himself an easy Scarlet Mage pick off. The Gyrocopter is inbound, but can't do anything, as opposed to just demolishes him.
Yeah, you're just waiting for this Scarlet Mage to get a little bit closer, and then he pounds. Just a very simple 1-2 shotgun, and the post is going to take home yet another kill, going to turn his gold total to 4,500 off of that one. Still, Jubilee is just terrified and hiding against DDX's might, as well he should be. I mean, this Nature's Prophet has been hunted constantly by the Storm, and it's going to be pretty much that for the rest of the game. And Jubilee, he's going to play it super safe. In the meantime, Leposa with a double damage rune is pressuring down bottom. If the Razor decides to pick a fight, then he probably won't be able to kill Leposa, but Leposa probably also can't kill him because of the damage drain and making things very difficult with unstable current. But Morphling is going to keep pressuring this bottom lane, whereas the rest of the Isurus heroes are going to go into the Roshan pit. Zuni has completed up that Assault Cuirass, so he's going to be taking very little damage from this Roshan, at least in comparison. Though it should be the Gyrocopter to tank this, because he has the Satanic, they're not going to fully commit to this. I guess they figure DDX is a little bit too far away. This game is actually stalling out pretty hard. I thought the game would have been played a lot more aggressively than this.
Yeah, I don't know, we're just kind of at an awkward moment where THD are comfortable with where their heroes are, and where Isurus aren't, and THD just aren't forcing the issue. We are going to see the Roshan going down pretty effectively, but here we might see a break in the action, or break in the lack of action, I should say. Smoke is going to pop in the Roshan pit. I think they're going to go the Nature's Prophet ultimate. Oh my goodness, it's going to obliterate the Scarlet Mage with shotgun combo. BKB on fullback. He's trying to right click for all he's worth. Now they jump in with DDX going to Leposa. Leposa's getting drained up, and now Hexy's going to drop. That's going to be a double kill for DDX, and now you could going to drop down. That's 3 kills going the way Nature's Prophet, going to be able to TP out, but just barely. In the Roshan pit, Isurus don't have anything to fear now. They're going to be able to take this very comfortably. THD just getting picked apart. I thought the THD would have a better chance of defending against that, but in the end, it was DDX that had the field day. Now with an Aegis, it's not going to change anything. A Bloodstone completed on this Storm Spirit, he's going to be zip-zapping around wherever he wants to.
Yeah, that was a really timely hex for the Storm Spirit. Got through the Lincoln Sphere, and then once Morphling was hexed, he was just gone. He wasted, or I guess, let's say, he used his Ethereal Blade on the Skywrath Mage, so there was no Mystic Flare there, which is pretty bad, but Skywrath Mage instantly bought back, and he was, in that area by the time the fight actually ended. And off of that nicely won fight from Isurus, they only spent 1 buyback, and they're going to be trying to go for this set of Raxes. No Eye of the Storm, because double Eye of the Storm was used by Dulce, but that's going to be just fine. They're going to take down the melee Raxes very easily. -5 armor from the Assault Cuirass helping out there, then the range Rax, and then slide up top. Zuni's going to be the one tanking this one with no Morphling and no Death Prophet. Actually, Morphling doesn't have buyback. Oh man, Morphling, yeah, you probably should save for buyback. I think that's a good way to play Dota. But yeah, they're going to lose, it looks like 2 sets of Raxes because they crucially don't have buyback on the Morphling, and Death Prophet figures I can't do anything to help anyway, so they're going to sack 2 lanes of Raxes, and suddenly Isurus are looking very, very good in this game. All it takes is 1 fight, and the scary thing is the next fight should go just as well for Isurus, if not better, because they have Aegis on DDX.
Yeah, Morphling, the item that he went for was BKB, but he wasn't able to pop it. The Hex came out too quickly, and Leposa, he thought the Lincoln Sphere would buy him enough time in order to get it off, but he was wrong, and not saving for buyback is going to end up being pretty crucial here in this game. 2 lanes of Rax down, THD, their game just got a whole lot harder. It's not impossible by any means, but it's very, very difficult. This, even without the lane equilibrium equilibrium being constantly pushed back into them, which it is. They're also going to be losing out in a lot of Golden Nature's Prophet and Morphling when they try to farm those lanes, and it's also just going to take a lot of their time away from bottom. I think slowly but surely Isurus are just going to be able to push down this bottom lane. There's just nothing that they can do about it. The Razor now with Boots of Travel. He's going to also start tanking up, probably with his next item is Storm Spirit. Finds himself a GUI, and GUI is looking very tasty. 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be all that it takes for DDX to notch himself a killing spree. And another Bloodstone charge on his person. It looks like THD, they're just going to go up top. I don't know, this group up is pretty questionable, although they are going to put some pressure down on the lane. They can't really commit to the barracks, and well, if they find a pickoff, it could change. His fullback gonna need a casual Cryptstorm, but has the BKB, so it doesn't actually have anything to fear. DDX currently back up to full mana thanks to his Bloodstone. 51 mana regen on the Storm Spirit per second. We'll be pretty comfortable with that. The Tier 2 tower on bottom is still standing, but I don't expect it to stand for much longer.
I'm just watching DDX walk around, because if I take my eyes off, he will get a kill. He got the kill on the Rubik by jumping all the way from the Radiant medium camp. That's like right above the hard camp, so he's wasting no mana. He's wasting no potential, I would say, as he does run into Visage. Poor Visage. Gravekeeper's Cloak will only keep you safe from so long. Here comes the Familiars, and he will survive for now, actually. 300 HP on him, but Mystic Flare won't kill him off. 2 more hits will. There it goes. The birds are going to kill off, and now DDX, unsilenced, he's going to jump forward. Who does he want to go for? Anyone he could find, really. It's going to be the Death Prophet, who will dodge death for now, but this is DDX as well as Nadera pretty much going it by themselves. They are nowhere near any support. Razor's kind of nearby, but not really. But they're just feeling so confident about their chance around the map, and they're going to go for Liposa down on the bottom lane. Lincoln Sphere should keep him 100% fine, though. He's going to go strong versus fullback, shotgunning him down. Going to bring him very, very low. Now Liposa is forced to waveform out as the BKB is up onto fullback, but I don't know if he wants to chase this. Also has to fear the Nature's Prophet potential for teleporting in. Zip in from the Storm Spirit. Huge damage to Liposa. The ball lightning is going to crush his HP pool. That's going to be another kill for Storm Spirit, another Bloodstone charge to add to his collection, and well, Morphling is dead once again. This time, good thing for him, has buyback, but with 2 Raxes down, it's going to be such a difficult defense for the house is down, because everyone from Isurus, they're going straight down bottom. A tier 2 tower is it's the only thing that stands in their way, and that's not going to last for very long.
Yeah, that 2400 or thereabouts health on the Morphling looked like nothing. That zip was just so long from DDX, but he can afford to do that. It doesn't actually matter. He's regenerating enough mana to where his other spells don't actually cost very much in comparison. The Electric Vortex, as well as the Static Remnant, they're going to be available like a second after, even if he drains his entire mana pool. Down in bottom lane, Isurus are going to go, and their other lanes are very much in their favor. This tier 3 tower down in bottom is not long for this world. This Morphling is probably going to force to buy back. Looks like THD are rallying up for this last fight. This tier 3 tower is already going to fall. There's no glyph, and I think they should just take this and make it Mega Creeps. They're going to jump in. Yuka, they throw up Yumi up into the air, but he's on the back line, so they are going to throw an Ethereal Blade Shotgun, but I'm not sure what that actually landed on. It probably was the Storm Spirit. He's looking pretty low on the back lines of the fight, but now Zipzap through. He has an Aegis. He doesn't actually care. They are going to drop Yuka down. DDX is going to find that kill. Morphling replicate back in the base. Buyback on the Death Prophet, trying to get back in the air, but the Nature's Prophet's going to die beforehand. DDX still hasn't lost his Aegis. 55 seconds. He might consider just suiciding for this one, although, let's see, he's going to be sprouted out. 4 staff to keep him away. DDX going to get that regen back up very shortly as Jubilu just ripped apart as Zuni gets a crit in style, and now Vestius are going to wait for him forward, lift up Nidera. They're going to get the Skywrath Mage before this ends, and the Gyrocopter also going to fall, but now DDX, he wants to fight in. GG's already been called. He loses his Aegis, and let's see how many kills DDX is going to get before the Ancient explodes. It's going to be none, as he is not going to respawn. So there you have it. Mega Creeps are going to seal out this game. After you lose 2 lanes of Rax, it's just so hard to come back, and all it took was that one fight around the Roshan pit.
Yeah, that Roshan pit was the deciding fight, and Isurus took that one very handily. Lost 1 hero, maybe 2, but definitely wasn't nearly as good for the house is down. But guys, this is a best of 2 series, so another game is going to be coming up very shortly. Don't go anywhere, because these 2 teams looking to be fairly even, and well, we'll see if the house is down could tie it up in game number 2, guys. We'll be right back.